Hey everyone, and welcome. You know when you see those huge headlines, some massive company buying another one? We always see the smiling CEOs, shaking hands, the press conference, the stock prices going nuts. But what happens after all that? What happens when the cameras pack up and go home? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain on the secret playbook that decides if these mega deals actually work or if they just completely fall apart.
Because that really is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? We hear about these corporate marriages all the time, just bursting with promise for this bigger, brighter future. But, just like any marriage, the real work begins long after the big ceremony. And way too often it doesn't have a happy ending.
Okay, so brace yourself for this number. A jaw-dropping 70 to 90%, that's right, of all mergers and acquisitions fail to create the value they were supposed to. I mean, that is a colossal failure rate. It means most of these deals, for all the hype and all the money, end up as huge disappointments. So what on earth is going wrong?
Well, here's the key thing to understand. Signing the deal is just the starting gun. It's not the finish line. The real, grueling marathon is blending two totally different companies. We're talking two cultures, two sets of tech, two ways of doing absolutely everything. Just try to picture merging two families with all their stuff, their traditions, their habits into one house. You can't just shove the furniture in and hope everyone gets along. It takes a plan.
So how do the smart companies, the ones that succeed, beat those crazy odds? They have a secret weapon, a playbook, a detailed game plan for success, and it's called post-merger integration, or PMI for short. This is what turns a massive gamble into a winning strategy.
So what is PMI really? Think of it like a master blueprint for combining everything. I mean everything, from HR and IT to finance and operations. It is literally the difference between an organized, well-executed construction project and just total, utter chaos. Without a PMI plan, you're just smashing two companies together. With it, you're carefully building something new, something stronger.
In this process, it generally breaks down into three pretty clear phases. First up is planning. This is where you draw that blueprint and figure out who's in charge of what. Then you've got execution. This is the heavy lifting, actually bringing the teams and the systems together. And finally, there's optimization, which is all about fine-tuning the new machine to make sure you're actually getting those benefits you promised everyone, the synergies, which, let's be honest, is just corporate speak for making sure that 1 + 1 = 3.
Of course, an amazing plan is pretty useless if you don't have the right people to pull it off. So, a massive part of this playbook is assembling the A-team, the crew that's actually going to make this whole thing happen.
And this is so interesting because you could really picture these roles. The integration lead, that person is the conductor of the whole orchestra, making sure every section is playing the same tune. Then you have your virtuosos, the HR lead who's focused on the people and the culture, the IT lead who's untangling that massive web of technology, and the finance lead making sure all the numbers actually add up. Every single one of these roles is absolutely crucial. All right, now we're getting to the real heart of it. This is where the magic, or frankly, the disaster happens. This is the messy, complex, and incredibly important work of blending the core components of the two companies: the people, the money, and the technology.
Let's start with the most important one, and honestly, the one that's most often overlooked: the people. You can have the most brilliant business plan in the world, but if the two company cultures clash, you are doomed from the start. So the real work here is creating a shared vision, figuring out who does what in the new world, and then communicating. The big goal? Make sure your best people don't get spooked and run for the exits.
Okay, next up, the engine room. We're talking finance and operations. This is the real nuts and bolts of the business. You've got to merge two different financial systems, create one single budget, and figure out how to combine, say, two totally different supply chains. It's a huge puzzle, but when you get it right, the new company actually runs smoother and more efficiently than either of the old ones ever could.
And finally, we get to the foundation that all of this is built on: tech and legal. I mean, just imagine one company uses Salesforce for its customers and the other uses a totally different system. How do you bring all that precious data together without losing it? This whole phase is about making sure the digital plumbing all connects properly and that you're not breaking any laws or regulations. Getting this wrong? Yeah, that can be a company-ending mistake.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly, doesn't it? It's a tale of two futures. Down one path, without that PMI playbook, you get absolute chaos. Culture clashes, systems breaking, your best people quitting, and all that promised value? Poof, it's gone. But down the other path, with a solid plan, you get a unified team, smooth operations, and you actually achieve those synergies everyone was so excited about in the first place.
So let's say you've done all the hard work. You've merged the teams, the tech, the whole shebang. How do you actually know if it was a success? You can't just go by gut feeling. The final chapter of the playbook is all about measurement, tracking your progress against real, concrete goals.
Yeah, success has to be measured with data, using what are called key performance indicators, or KPIs. A huge one, for example, is employee retention. Did you keep the talent you wanted to keep? In this chart, you can see the goal was to keep 90% of key employees, but after the first quarter, they only hit 88%. Now, that's not a disaster, but it's a clear signal to leadership that they've got a problem they need to solve right now.
And it goes way beyond just employees. The playbook tracks everything. Are we actually saving the money we said we would? Is the new company's revenue growing like we planned? Are our customers happy and sticking with us through the change? Are we hitting our big project deadlines? These numbers, together, they create the ultimate report card on whether the merger actually worked.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? At the end of the day, the handshake and the giant check, that's just the opening act. Real, lasting success comes from the slow, careful, and deeply human work of weaving two different organizations into one strong, unified company.
So the next time you see one of those blockbuster merger headlines, I hope you'll think about more than just the price tag. Now you know the real questions to ask. What's their integration plan? Who is on their A-team? And what are all the little details happening behind the scenes that will really decide if this corporate marriage is built to last? Thanks so much for tuning in.